Hi there, welcome. Today I am going to show you how to create a seamless repeat pattern using Procreate. It takes a few minutes the first times that we set up the canvas, but once you have it set up, it's super easy and fast. I'm going to show you how. Welcome, my name is Ana Benito Gonzalez. I am an artist and educator, and today we are going to learn how to create a seamless pattern repeat in Procreate. Let's dive in. Okay, so we're gonna open Procreate and we're going to create a canvas. The only requirement is that it has to be a square. We have to create a square for the seamless repeat pattern. The measurements don't matter, 8 by 8, 12 by 12, anything, but it has to be a square. And then we're gonna create our first layer, which is here. And for the first layer, I'm gonna give it a color, okay? Again, the color doesn't matter. We're gonna drag the color into the canvas and we're gonna give it a color just to make this process a little bit easier. Once I have it filled in, what I'm going to do is I am going to select the canvas, okay? And I'm going to make it 1/4 of the size of the canvas, okay? So I want to make sure that you have magnetis and snapping selected before we do anything. That's going to make it a little bit easier for you when you drag the square, okay? So you have it there, and we're going to go from a little corner and drag it to the middle, okay? That is going to be the quadrant that we're going to take. So we're going to drag it. And once you have the quarter, if you can see, there's going to be 2 orange lines that appear, one vertical and one horizontal. That's going to help you decide that you have the exact measures, okay? Has to be a perfect square, so the pattern repeats perfectly and there's no white lines. If you ever have a white line, it's because the pattern didn't, or the squares didn't align fully with the orange lines. And sometimes that's the hardest part to get done. Then we're gonna come here, we're gonna go to the layer, we're gonna click select. And we are going to see that there is a button at the bottom that appears that it says save and load. And then we're going to click the plus sign and we're gonna have our selection 1. And that's gonna be the first quadrant that we have. We're gonna do these the other 3 times for the other 3 quadrants, okay? So we come to our layer, we select our layer. Okay, once it's selected, we're gonna select from the layer first. Select, there we go. And then we are going to drag it to the right part. So we're gonna replicate what we just did. So when you drag it, you're gonna have to drag it all the way until you have those 2 lines appear. Again, perfectly aligned. If it's not, you're gonna run into issues later. I find that that's my hardest. Sometimes it's easier to do it with my finger than with the pen, but that is just a personal preference. I feel like maybe my pen sometimes move a little too much. And then once you have those 2 lines that you can see there, then you let go, and then you have your second quadrant. All right, make sure that it's perfectly aligned. And then we're gonna go back and do the same thing for these quadrants. Once it's ready, we are going to, click on the layer, select, the little save and load appears. So we're gonna click it and then add selection, and that's gonna be your selection 2. You can give it names, you can say right, top, right, left. I just keep it that way, and we're gonna just do the same. Select, move it down, and now we're gonna put it at the bottom on the right. Again, I need to make sure those 2 lines appear, otherwise it's not perfectly aligned. There we go. Now we have those 2 lines, and we're gonna go through the selection, go to the layer, select, save and load, and create a selection 3. All right, we have to do it one last time. And once you have this canvas set up, you don't have to keep doing it over and over. You can copy the file as many times as you want, okay? It's just the first time. Make sure that you do it right. Again, that one is a little off. Like I said, for me, sometimes this is the hardest. To drag it and make sure that it aligns with the borders of the canvas and that I have those 2 orange lines appear. Sometimes you let it go and one of the lines disappears, so you just have to keep at it until both of those lines are there. Sorry, bear with me. There we have it. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Okay, it's a little off again. Let me try this again. Sorry about this. Okay. All right, one of the lines, the second one. Now it is there. All right, so now we go to select, and then we are going to just select here, but select the layer. Go back to my layers, click on my layer 1, and then I'm going to select again, and then save and load my one final quadrant. There we go. So now I have that done. I don't no longer need that square there. So I'm gonna go to my layer and I'm going to select. I'm going to go there and remove that square. So if I swipe to the left, it's gonna say clear, and I'm gonna click clear because I no longer need that square. But all my quadrants are saved to that layer. So as you have it, you can save this document because all these selections are saved into that layer. Now I'm gonna create a new layer. I'm gonna create one layer for my background, which I can drag again, and the whole background. And then I'm gonna create another layer where you could have your pattern, and you can create as many layers as you want. I'm going to simplify this pattern and just quickly create some blobs. So I'm gonna select a different color for that so you guys can see it. And in my third layer rather, I'm gonna create some spots. I'm not going to be too worried about this. I just want you to see how this is going to work. And just keep in mind that your first layer with the quadrants, it's gonna be saved, so you don't have to repeat that process every time. I'm gonna create my blobs in the middle, and I'm gonna be careful to leave the borders out. I don't wanna make any blobs on the sides, okay? Just because I don't know exactly if it's gonna match the left to the right, and I can show you here, okay? That area I'm gonna keep clean, because if I don't, the blobs might not 100% match my little repeat. So keep my edges clean. All right, and now I'm gonna give you an example so you can see when I do the repeat, when I move around my quadrants, how that little blob might not end up matching even if I try my best. All right, yeah, I'm gonna keep it there so you can see that even if I'm trying kind of to make it match, it's not gonna be perfect. So I'm gonna come to my layers and I'm going to group them. The 3 layers I need to group, okay? So I'm gonna bring my bottom layer, which has my quadrants, and I'm going to have them all in the same group so I can select the group. I like to keep it at the bottom, but it really doesn't matter. The point now is that I have all those 3 layers, and you can have more than 3 because you can create different motifs in different layers, and I'm gonna select my whole group. So the whole thing moves when I move my quadrants. So I'm gonna come here, select, have selected the whole thing, and now I'm going to click transform, save and load. And I'm going to select my first quadrant. For mine is selection 1. You might have given it a name, and then transform. And I'm going to flip it horizontally and vertically and deselect. And I'm going to do the same thing with all my quadrants, okay? I'm going to go first to the selection tool, save and load. Now I'm going to select the second one. Once I make sure that I have that one selected, I'm going to go out to the transform bottom, and then flip horizontally and flip vertically. And as you can tell, the middle part where I didn't put any dots is going to be in the middle. So again, I'm going to click select, save and load, selection 3, transform, go to my transform, flip horizontally, vertically. There I have it. One last time, select, save and load. Now I'm going to select my selection 4, transform, and move it horizontally and vertically. And now all the edges that I had around my canvas are in the middle, which allows me to create those dots. So I have to fill this area here and this area here. And as you can see, these dots that I made here was not exactly right. But now, sorry about that. Okay, all right. There we go. Now I go to my layers. I'm gonna make sure that I go to the right layer where I had the blobs, and I'm gonna make sure I fix that one. So I can make it bigger. This one is a lot bigger than the other ones, but it really doesn't matter, just to show you. So I can fill in those gaps better, because now they're in the middle and I can make sure that I'm creating them the right way. If you notice, I still have this area here, so I can move everything one more time. For these, you can either move it horizontally or vertically, so you can align those. Again, you don't want to do it by guessing, so we will move all our quadrants one more time so they will end up in the middle, okay? So in this case, I'm going to flip it vertically so they will all be inverted, and I can fill that stop there to make sure that I have all my dots aligned. In this case, I didn't fully spend the time to make them perfectly aligned. Just for the purpose of this tutorial, I wanted to make it quickly. So again, I'm gonna go to all my layers. So I'm gonna select the new group, the entire group that I have, everything. And I'm gonna go to my selection because I want to move everything. So I go to the selection and save and load. And now I'm gonna select all the quadrants again. But when I click on transform, the only move that I'm gonna make is vertically, and that way I'm gonna have the spot that I need to fill right in the middle. So select and then save and load, selection 2, and you'll eventually get a little faster and better at this. And then I'm gonna only flip my second quadrant vertically, so my little thing is getting that in the middle. And now 2 more times, select. I'm gonna select selection 3 from my quadrants. There we go. And then transform, flip vertically, and then one last time. Select the selection 4 and transform, flip vertically. There we have. So now I have the spot that I had right there in the middle. Again, sorry, I forgot about this. I have to go and select the right layer where I have my spots. I cannot draw in 3 layers at the same time. So I'm gonna go through layer 3 and make sure that I'm in layer 3. There we are. And then I'm gonna create my last blob in the middle. And then you're done creating your pattern. So you can see the first time might be a little bit more time consuming to make sure that you have all your quadrants properly aligned. But after that, you get to create your seamless repeat pattern in Procreate, and you can export it, save it. You can remove the background layer. You can add other items to your make more complicated patterns, obviously. So I think this is it. The main layer is layer 1, is the one that is allowing me to move the quadrants so I can keep moving the little squares that I created to make it a seamless repeat pattern using that one. So you can always copy and paste the canvas before you add any of the extra layers, save it, be like, this is my main seamless repeat file, and then you can just keep using it to create your many different patterns, seamless repeat patterns. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. Please let us know in the comment what you think. And if you don't want to miss out on any of our tutorials, subscribe to our website for a newsletter, and I will make sure I keep you updated. If you have any suggestions or ideas for things that you would like to know, please, we would love to hear about those. We're always looking for new tutorial ideas, so happy to get your feedback. I hope you enjoyed today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!